apparently.
Dawson, is there a reason that
everyone's saying, is it just me or is the show muted?
I see audio.
Does anyone get audio? Can anyone hear us?
I flipped a switch just now that should reset it in case you didn't hear any audio.
Okay, let us know.
Someone said good now.
We're good. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Naturally.
Crap.
Redo.
What do we do for the...
Good to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not going to be good. Most people watch the show after the fact, Dawson. No, we can't redo this. We're going to have to figure this out. This is an interesting problem.
It's a hang.
It is a hang.
Oh, you assholes. You guys are so bad.
Basically, we did introductions, and then Jake and Bridget went and saw the movie.
Yeah, basically. We're talking about.
All right. So anyhow, well, we did a review. I gave it 7.2. Dawson gave it 6.8. What would you give it?
I'd be closer to Dawson, I think.
Okay, so you're under 7 then, or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably 6.5 or 6.8, close to where Dawson is.
Now, I'm sure some people are like, oh, it was a 10, right? You know, my dad's like, oh, it's at least an 8. It's a great film, and my rating is 7.2 means go see it, right? It's
I still think go see it for sure.
Yeah. Like, if you're putting it up here, like, here's like Godfather 2 or Braveheart. Sorry, I love that movie. It's not there, right? But it's up there. It's better than a lot of films, all right? So it's a great film, and that alone should be why you go see it. But let's be honest. There's something more to this film, all right? Now, I think there's a lot of us that appreciate Jim Caviezel taking the role of Christ in The Passion of Christ in 2004, okay?
It was weird watching it. I kept seeing Christ. I'm like, okay, don't see him. See
I think
other guy.
I almost think he played that role and it kind of has gone to his head in some sense.
Maybe.
And I don't know how you can't play that role and it doesn't affect you like that.
Yeah.
So obviously that was controversial because it was anti-Jewish. That was the big thing about Passion, right? So I think there's a lot of that. And then I think there's just a general interest in a topic that's not covered too much when this is about sex trafficking, right? Child sex trafficking or slavery, modern day slavery. But it's very fascinating to me, and this is why we're talking about it today.
Well, it's the highest grossing movie out there right now, right?
No, not even close.
Is it?
No,
I think it is. I mean, no, I'm not saying of all time. I'm saying of the
not all
current
time.
movies
not
out
not
right
even the
now.
current movies. Not bigger than Indiana Jones.
No, I saw
it
that it
is.
was.
No, it did better than Indiana Jones over the weekend, but not grossing.
Oh, okay.
So, and I don't know what that trend's going to look like, but it's way behind Insidious. But when you look at the budget, it's probably way outperforming. I think Indiana Jones was over $100 million to make, something like that. This film was, what did we look this up, Dawson? 18 million, something like that?
15 to 18 mil, yeah.
All right, so it's by all measures, then it's doing very well, right? But where was I going with this here?
T-Wall for Life says, hello, everyone. Nice weather day in Minnesota.
It
Hi,
is.
T-Wall.
It's 55 degrees when I went mountain
gorgeous
biking this
out, I know.
morning. I couldn't believe it. It was like a little cold, which I love. Where the hell was I going with that story?
I don't know, but we got a rumble rant,
You were
so I had to interrupt.
You were talking about. You were talking about.
No,
Passion
it
of the
wasn't that.
Christ.
It was Jesse's comment that.
Yeah,
threw me off.
about how much it was grossing.
Yeah,
And
what were
how
you
much
saying?
it cost.
Before that, you were talking about his role in Passion of the Christ and how that went to his head or something.
Well, where I was going with this whole thing was about the media's backlash, and that's so we do this review, and everyone's talking about this film, and then all of a sudden we're looking at how it's being treated in the media. Pull up this picture. If you just listen to audio, you could probably Google the show, The Sound of Freedom, or the movie Sound of Freedom, and just see how people are reacting to it. Pull this up for them, Dustin. This is a couple of headlines here about the film. I mean, they're talking about Sounds of Freedom puts spotlight on controversial anti-trafficking nonprofit because, you know, you got to undermine the, what do they call it, Operation Underground Railroad. This is from Washington Post. Sound of Freedom is an office hit whose star embraces QAnon. Right? And then I'm blocked on this thing. Let me pull it up on my computer here real quick. Oh, there you go. Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms. So there you go. I'm a dad with brainworms. That's who I am, right? Dad with brainworms. So this is like the reaction by the media. CNN, I didn't want to play the clip, but CNN trashing this movie as well, of course. I think maybe even CBS trashed this movie. Now you watch the movie. It's a good movie. Well done. Great acting, especially that child actor. Jim
Oh, yeah,
Caviezel's
that little
good.
boy was so good, actually.
Right. Jim Caviezel's a really good actor.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Dawson's got some comments about cinematography. It is what it is.
I mean, they had a low budget, so when you consider that, I think
There you go.
it's really well done.
That's right.
No.
Yeah,
I'm good. Well, yes, it had a low budget, but a low budget does not mean that the cinematography can be garbage.
I don't think
Okay.
it's garbage. To the average eye, it was good, Dawson.
I know.
So-
I prefaced everything then with I am a snob when it comes to movies. So
That's fair.
And we learned Jesse doesn't even watch movies today, so learned so much. Well, it's interesting that they're quickly putting this movie into this category. And I got into this Facebook debate with an old friend, and it's like he's basically stating these things like, oh, well, it's this QAnon or Q adjacent. That's the term they're using, Q adjacent movie. And I'm like, first of all, it's well done. It's entertaining. It definitely, I think the comment you and I agreed with, Dawson, was it keeps you engaged the whole time.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Not quite edge of seat, but close, okay? But it's got a powerful meaning to it. Like, can we all agree that pedophilia is terrible, and certainly sex trafficking of children is terrible, awful, right? Can we all agree on that? I don't know, can we? I don't know. I mean, everyone here can, yeah, but can we all agree on that? I don't know. And maybe that's what's behind this thing. But it's like we should praise that movie alone for bringing attention to this issue, because there's not a lot of movies like that. Taken, obviously, the biggest one, which is more or less Liam Neeson plays a father and his daughter is kidnapped, right? But in this case, he doesn't have a child that's kidnapped. The actor, or Jim Caviezel, is playing Tim Ballard, who's the guy who works for the Department of Human Services. We talk about Minnesota politics all the time. Department of Homeland Security, the other HS. And leaves his job, basically, because he wants to find these kids to actually do something that his job doesn't allow him to do. So you see this media reaction, you're just like, what on earth is going on here? And that's why I'm like, we got to talk about this thing, because it's so bizarre. So if you look at the graphic that we put up here, and Dawson did a fantastic job, because I was like, for the concept, we actually put some thought in the thumbnails. We've been told we have good thumbnails, Dawson. And you have to put something catchy. So I was like, we need to put someone like in the media, right? And then to kind of navigate to, no, let's just go with the known sex trafficker that is from the elites and the wealthy, and that's Jeffrey Epstein. So as these people are saying, oh, this is Q theories, right? And like trying to belittle the film, what we do know, what is factual, Jeffrey Epstein, who is hanging out with all the rich and the wealthy, literally is guilty of these crimes. In fact, when you watch this movie and you see Tim Ballard, which is true because we found this on CBS report about this in 2014, when he sets up this private island as a pretend like pedophilia island to lure in these sex traffickers, and then they make this arrest, and they save 57 children at the same time, which is wonderful. And that's why Tim Ballard is literally heroic, because of that very activity.
He mentions in that interview with Jordan Peterson that at the same time they were doing two other busts, and they basically got out, I think, 120 people that day at the exact same time, actually.
In Haiti, right?
Yeah.
So what we do know for a fact, because when you watch the film, you think, oh, Epstein's Island. That's what they're doing. They're creating Epstein's Island. And that was a theory. Do you remember this? Like, right? Alex Jones called out Epstein's Island like a decade ago, and just another conspiracy by Alex Jones, right, Jesse?
Yep.
And it's true. And guess what? Bill Clinton, lots of good evidence. He visited Epstein's Island, and a lot of wealthy, influential people visited. Of course, we'll never know for a fact, because we'll never know the client list or anything like that from Epstein, because why would they ever allow us to know that? And by the way, Epstein didn't kill himself. You know, you see media reports, they lie about that too. So we know for a fact that happened, but they want to act like this is just one big conspiracy. Dawson, let's pull up on line 8 there. I've got a segment in Jordan Peterson's podcast, and I think it's like an hour and a half. You're halfway through, you said? Mm-hmm. I think so. It's about an hour and a half. I would recommend listening to it. So he interviews Jim Caviezel and Tim Ballard. Now, listen, I'm just going to say personally, Jim Caviezel's a great actor. There's no doubt about it. I've been a fan of that guy since Count of Monte Cristo and High Crimes. I don't know which one came first. He's really good in both of those films. Okay, he's good in a lot of films, and of course he did The Passion of Christ. But he's a good actor. So I don't know. Actors are freaking crazy. That's the thing. These people are insane individuals. If you don't believe me, watch last year's Academy Awards, right? Or Will Smith smacks Chris Rock, or Joaquin Phoenix when he wins Actor of the
Caviezel's
Year.
out of the Hollywood ring, so
What's that?
he's not like in Hollywood anymore.
Well,
makes
true, but
difference.
he's still an actor,
Right,
Actors usually are. So I have no idea. I assume the guy is a man of faith and all that kind of stuff, but, he's just so intense and always so passionate. Can you smile, Jim? Can you smile one time,
True.
please? Just smile once. I know things are dark in this world, but good God, smile for a second. So I have no idea. Jim's a really good actor. No doubt about it, okay? But this Tim Ballard guy, and that's really what matters, is the actual person behind the story, right? Jim's just portraying a real person, okay? And it seems to me they got a lot of the facts right. So look at this Tim Ballard guy. And Jordan Peterson just starts the interview out basically bringing up the controversies, which seems a lot from Vice News, which is bankrupt now, which is hilarious. And he addresses the QAnon theory. So let's play this video here, Dawson, of him being asked about that conspiracy.
Is there a particular conspiracy theory that you were criticized for refusing to condemn? Do you have any more specific details about that?
I mean, I'm not sure what exactly they're talking about. They might be referring to the fact that there's something called adrenochrome, where they're taking children's blood and devouring it and so forth. And I've explained my experience with that, and I just did in West Africa and other places. We've seen this in several parts of the continent of Africa, and it's very real. It's very real. This witch doctory. They take these children. They take their organs. They take their blood. They drink it. They take the genitalia of children and hang it over the rooftop of their businesses, thinking that the dark gods will bless them. These are real things. And so I might say something like that, and then they connect it to something that a QAnon person says about, a celebrity who must be doing this too, but there's no evidence to back that, and they make a false connection there, and so that's the only example I can think of.
Okay, got it.
All right,
Well, the
so
next thing-
what's fascinating about that to me, and I said this in the show prep today, the media. I mean, this is what we do on this show. These guys are such liars. We expose these guys. It's them conflating issues, right? Okay, now I don't know. I haven't done the research this guy's done. I imagine that's true. Can you believe for a fact that happens around the world in some parts of Africa? Right? Mm-hmm. We know there's actually cannibalism out there, right? That is a known fact. There are cannibalistic tribes out there.
Well,
So
we live in a first world bubble. Americans
so
do. A
true.
lot of people don't know what goes on beyond our borders. A lot of people don't even want to look into it or think about it. So, it's easy for these liberals to just look at these things and dismiss it as that's just crazy talk, because in their mind it is. They don't know these things are going on at all.
that's a great point. In fact, speaking of the borders, if you just go south of our border, they probably don't believe the stuff that's happening
Yeah,
down there.
no
right?
way.
One of the worst places, dangerous places on earth.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
if
confirmation bias.
Yes, very much so. If we can believe, or if we know that cannibalism is a thing today in today's culture, then we can believe that they also sacrifice children, right? And there's lots of historical record of sacrificing children, okay? So is that true? That he's basically saying the QAnon theories tying that to Hollywood aren't true. You hear that from the horse's mouth right there, okay? But they're going to conflate those issues. You know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like to me Joe Rogan taking ivermectin, human ivermectin, and then the lying media goes, Joe Rogan is taking horse dewormer, right? They conflate the two issues. Yes, technically horse dewormer or ivermectin's used for horse deworming, right? That's not what he took. They're conflating those two issues. They do this all the time. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I loved about Jordan's interview with them is let's just hear from the horse's mouth. Mm-hmm. And I thought, and you just watched it, Bridget, we haven't talked about it. Do you think he stood ground and made great arguments or at least explained things very well?
Wait, sorry, in the interview or the movie?
Yeah, Tim.
Oh, yeah. I think so, in the interview so far.
Yeah, so...
I've watched a lot of his videos before, though, so I think, I mean, I guess I've known about his like organization for a long time and followed
Are
him.
you serious? You've known about this for a while? Mm-hmm. How'd you come across them?
My sister actually, she's always like researching. I don't know. She just like finds out all this stuff. But so like years ago, at least 4 or 5 years ago, she like told us about this rally that was happening in Kansas, and I went to it, and that's how I learned about him.
Was it a rally by OUR? Or
Yeah.
What? Really?
It was his organization. I mean, he wasn't there, but it was like people who were involved with his organization. So it was like a corner of Kansas where they know that like kids have been trafficked from on the street, like where they're passed on to like another person.
Oh, but are they abducted there or kidnapped?
Not necessarily abducted, but they know it's like a corner where it's like known that pedophiles will, or like people in the network will pass them on to like wherever they're supposed to go to, like nonchalantly, like take this kid's hand and they keep going. Like I think they've been caught there before.
So you
So it was
probably knew
interesting.
about this film coming out like way ahead of time then.
Yeah, I did. I kept telling my friends, I'm like, let's go see it, and they like didn't think anything of it. Or like kind of, whenever I try to like get them involved in this stuff, they're just like, oh yeah, and then
know, it's
it
like
blew
me.
up, and then they're like, oh, we need to go see this movie. I'm like, yeah, I've been telling you for months now.
That's like me with Jesse. You can't get the
But-
guy to go to a film, you know. It's unbelievable.
You can't
No.
get what?
Get you to go to a film. Hey, what do you guys think? Do you think
Yeah,
Meg
no,
and
that's the
Jesse
thing.
should go to this film?
I haven't even seen this movie, so I really have no idea. I mean, I've seen some things that you guys have shown me, and you know, it sounds like I agree with this guy. It sounds like I agree with the message and the things he's trying to push. Yeah, I don't need a movie to tell me child sex trafficking is wrong. I'm already on the same page, but I don't think that's the point of the movie. I think it is just to expose this one situation and
And bring
what
it
this
back
guy's up to.
probably,
So
too.
Yeah, it seems like
Like,
a
it's
call
just
to
like-
action to do something about it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and that's the thing about it is, you know, it really hits at home with me as a parent, right? It's like, oh God, I got to do something about it because it's some other parents dealing with this stuff. You guys are very young, obviously. I didn't live in Minnesota at this time, but Jacob Wetterling was a famous case here where a kid was abducted and basically was held by some pedophile and then murdered. And that was only revealed much later on. Like I think this was only a couple of years ago. They finally made a deal with the guy that they pretty much knew did it to admit it, and then he gave the location, and they found that, you know, of course that was Jacob's body, and it gave closure to the family. Guy's not actually tried for murder because that was the plea deal. Anyhow, so I guess where I want to take this conversation, and I'd love to hear from you guys at home, like what's going on here? Why is the media doing this for a film, in my opinion, that really shouldn't be controversial to any of us that thinks child sex trafficking is a bad thing, right? Like, why are they doing this? You know, so when they talk about QAnon, and I honestly don't give a crap if Jim Caviezel is in Q or is a Q believer. I don't give a shit, right? There's actors. Do you know how many actors believe in Scientology? My God, like,
It's true.
I told you to go see Top Gun: The Maverick. The guy in that film is not only in Scientology, he's like the biggest poster boy for Scientology. Tom Cruise is a lunatic, but damn, he's a good actor, and damn, that's a good pro-America movie. So I don't
think
really
he's in
care.
outer space right now. Tom Cruise.
What?
Yeah, I think he's filming a movie in outer space.
Fake news.
I'm pretty sure.
What?
Yeah,
Fact check that one.
I'll look it up.
Or maybe it's just an AI lookalike.
No, I don't think so.
So, you know, I know. Actually, we both know a Q person. You know who I'm talking
Oh
about?
yes,
Oh, she's awesome.
she is awesome.
And then I know another Q person. Or I shouldn't say a Q person, but people that have gotten bitten by the Q bug. Okay, I'll just put it that way. I love those two people. They're great people. They've gone off the deep end a little bit on some stuff. Okay, but they're wonderful people. Okay, by all measures. So I really don't care if some people believe in some crackpot theories. The problem with Q theories is they just get everything wrong. And at some point, you got to be like, man, I believe this stuff and it didn't come true. So at some point, you got to go, you know, it is what it is. But it doesn't matter to me if Caviezel believes in Q, honestly. I don't even know if it matters so much that Tim, and with Tim's case, Tim Ballard, and I'm guessing he's not a QAnon guy. I don't believe the media 1 second. But let's put up records. So let's just say he even believed in some of the stuff they say. Have you saved hundreds of children from sex trafficking? I'm going to say, and he said this, you probably didn't get to that part of the Jordan Peterson interview, but basically his wife said, I'm not going to let you impact my salvation or something
Oh
to that
yeah, I
degree.
heard that part actually.
Right. Meaning that if you when you go up to heaven and your interview with God is, could you have done something about this? And did you do it?
Like, yeah, he was placed into it, basically.
Exactly.
Well, because he talks about when he was working for the Department of Homeland Security, how what did he want to do? He wanted to work on like terrorist stuff. He wanted to like
Initially, I
investigate
think he
terrorism,
was,
and then
yeah.
they called him up specifically and asked him if he would help start a.
Yeah, I think he was originally CIA. That's what he said on the podcast,
Yeah.
and then went to Department of Homeland Security, which would have been
Pretty
created
early on, I
in
think.
02.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he went when it was created, but yeah, they asked him if he would help start like a unit on looking into crime with sex trafficking for kids.
Gotcha. We got some comments here.
We have a lot.
Okay.
So KJ1967 says, Maggie Jesse, cool shirt.
Oh, thank you, KJ.
Should he watch the movie though?
Yeah, we'll see.
I guess, should he? Probably, because the same person said, hey, Jake, thanks for your hard work, Liberty, for Liberty, Sound of Freedom. And then we have a comment from Debbie says, I haven't seen the movie yet. Is it worth it?
Yeah, Debbie,
so.
just to answer your question, it's worth it, okay? And I think it's worth it for two reasons. Number one, the entertainment value, okay? If this was a sucky film, Dawson and I would have told you it was a sucky film. It wasn't a sucky film.
What?
He just scanned himself like drinking. I was like, caught off guard. You can't show yourself caught off guard when you're the one doing it, Dawson. Oh, that was funny.
I have a lot of power here.
I know,
He
that's true.
does. And apparently cutting off my mic for the first 2 minutes of the show, right? That's real power. But number two is it's an important message. So I went with a guy that I served in the Army with for 12 years. And we went to this film, and we both have kids, same age. And then we leave that film thinking, now what are we going to do about it? Now, Jeff and I kind of thought we would volunteer to do a stakeout. We want to do a stakeout just so we can go, hey, who's going to get the coffee kind of thing. But anything we could do to help out, right? I don't want to just give dollar bills. I want to do something. One of the problems with Tim Ballard's job, and we were talking about this in the pre-show, and this is crazy. This is really crazy, and I've thought about this. You know, if you're in the business of doing what he did, you have to take the evidence in and view the evidence.
Oh, I know. It'd be so hard. He said he's watched hours. He has to.
And he talked about that with Jordan Peterson and talked about how he didn't seek help quick enough on it. But you can't convict someone in court without somebody witnessing the evidence. I don't even know how they do this in court. Does a jury have to be subjected to it?
Well, he said he writes it down for court reasons and stuff. Like he has to even write about it.
Yeah.
Like write about what he sees.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tricky one because then you have to take someone's word for
Right.
what is it. And yeah, someone's got to do it, right? Otherwise, how could you convict someone in court and you want to put these guys behind bars? So imagine that's your job. That's tough. And so the film portrays him tearing up over that because he's got to see that. And then he's got to go home. And I think he says, you know, he has to see his kids' faces when doing it. I don't want to talk any further about that. That's crazy. And so, you know, when it comes to doing something about an action item, I'd like to maybe go bust those people's face in. That's the other thing. This guy has got to come face to face with these people, especially when he was doing these stings, these undercover stings. And he has to pretend like maybe he's a pedophile too. And if I met one of these guys, I mean, it's you know, how could you restrain yourself? These are the scum of the earth. These are the worst human beings ever, you know, aside from politicians. So
I think there were. Well, politicians are probably involved in it too. So.
there you go. I was going to allude to that.
Yeah.
All right. What other comments?
We have one from Sharon Davis on Facebook. Says, I love that you said call to action. I too have been following Operation Underground Railroad for years. This movie hopefully will bring awareness to the masses of people that were not previously aware. Now, what are we all going to do about it? I think at the end of the movie, doesn't Jim Caviezel say, like, just at least tell all your friends about it, tell them to go see it?
Yeah,
Spread awareness for the movie.
and Dawson missed this. There's a special message. Do you want to play that, Dawson?
Yeah, so I wasn't able to grab the nice looking one, so I'm gonna have to pull it up on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. So you get the lady with the comments. She's like, amen. I'm definitely getting 10 tickets.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, there's a lot of us that, you know, Caviezel really has sold it to our crowd, you know, which, you know, in fairness, it's a little goofy at the end where they do a special message. If you didn't see
It's a little
this,
corny.
Well, I think it's just
Yeah.
because, too, they filmed it like 5 years ago. So then it's like, I don't know if it's like an updated message or.
yeah, and
But,
you know, honestly, once again, Jim Caviezel's an actor, so I watch this and I'm going, you're kind of acting too. Is it really from the heart? Well, I can't take it from the heart because you're a good actor. So I wish Tim Ballard was the one doing this because I don't know. Maybe they had a still shot of actual Tim Ballard at the end of the film, but it wasn't until after this movie where I kind of got to learn more about him. Once again, Jim played did a great job acting. Okay, so played the character, and apparently Tim Ballard asked for Jim Caviezel to play him, which is cool. So this is, if you watch the film, they start the credits, and quickly on into the credits they go special message, and then it's like a 3-minute countdown. So this is what you see after that 3-minute countdown.
There's been a movie like this ever. It's called Sound of Freedom.
Is this?
That's definitely not it.
This isn't it.
No, I just YouTubed
Yeah, that
special
looks like a
message.
trailer.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
what-
I YouTubed, and we found it.
that's
Oh,
what I
right down there. Yep, that one.
Oh, okay. I forgive myself.
All right, let's see. What ads are we watching here? Another movie? Is this
You
Fast
know-
and Furious something?
No, this is
Oh, it's Tom Cruise.
Mission
Mission
Impossible.
Impossible. That I would want to see.
Yeah, I looked it up. Tom Cruise, he's not in space right now. He is going to space.
Really?
Yeah, through SpaceX.
No kidding.
Yeah, first actor to film a movie in space, it says.
You know, they love Tom Cruise, and that guy believes in some really kooky ideas. So you can see in that bottom left of that screen there, it's got the exit sign, so someone's just filming the end trailer. This isn't the film, so I don't think there's any legal issues.
Fingers crossed.
Do we not have audio?
Be overwhelmed or even a sense of fear, which is understandable. But living in fear isn't how we solve this problem. It's living in hope.
Turn it up a little bit,
Believing
Dawson.
that we can make a difference because we can. But I want to make one thing clear.
Oh, I'm
This
gonna.
movie you just watched isn't about me or Tim Ballard. It's about those kids.
That's right.
You know, Steve Jobs once said, the most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. Abraham Lincoln credited Harriet Stowe when she wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. This powerful story inspired millions to rise up and fight against slavery. I think we can make Sound of Freedom the Uncle Tom's Cabin of 21st century slavery. This film was actually made 5 years ago. It wasn't released till now, with every roadblock that you can imagine being tossed in the way. And the names you see here on the screen took a stand, and they made sure this story could be shown.
Disney
to
didn't
all of
want it
you.
shown.
And now all of you have the opportunity to continue
I have
telling
a
this
comment I want to
story.
read after.
We don't have
It's
big
yours.
studio money to market this movie, but we have you. And the baton has now been passed to you. You are the storytellers that can get people to come see this film in theaters. When you come to a theater, you experience movies differently. There is no pause button. There are no distractions. We all have an experience as we watch the film together as a community. It makes it possible for strong messages like this one to take root. Sound of Freedom is a hero's tale, but I'm not talking about the character I play. It's the heroic brother and sister in this film that work to save each other. They are the true heroes. The most powerful person in this world is the storyteller. Together, we have a chance to make these two kids and the countless children that they represent the most powerful people in the world by telling their story in a way only the cinema can do. For a couple of months, while Sound of Freedom is in theaters, these kids can be more powerful than the cartel kingpins or presidents or congressmen or even tech billionaires. We believe this movie has the power to be a huge step forward toward ending child trafficking, but it will only have that effect if millions of people see it.
It's true.
Now, I know it's weird because we're in a theater, but feel free to pull out your phones and scan this QR code. We don't want finances to be the reason someone
Got you,
doesn't
Jim.
see this movie, so Angel Studios boldly has set up a pay it forward program where you can pay for someone else's ticket
I'm
who
paying for
might not
some.
otherwise see it. If you're able, we invite you to pay it forward by buying a ticket for someone else, or if your budget is
Buying
tight,
10.
share the already available free tickets with as many friends as you can, or do both. Join us and millions of others as we ring Sound of Freedom and hope throughout the world. And just remember this, God's children are not for sale.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I cannot get over that lady's commentary.
Yeah.
It's just
She
too
knows
damn
that
funny.
he can't hear her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the diamond and silk of the Sound of Freedom.
Yes. Yeah, but I like Diamond and Silk.
Yeah.
Could have done without her commentary. She's gonna put it out there. I mean, that's her thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That kind of left a gross taste in my mouth. Did you see that? Did you know that was part of the film?
What?
That
I didn't hear the
message?
part that you guys have because I saw the message, but I honestly can't even hardly remember what he said except that like.
Oh, you don't have ear set?
No, that's why I was not tuned in.
No, we never have.
Our game is off today. Jeez, sorry about that.
She's never.
No,
she's
I
never
never
had
do.
one.
But I don't really.
Yeah, but William's
usually
not here.
Our game
That's
isn't
true.
off today. Our game is off all the time. That's
Yep.
what I'm saying.
Oh, because it's a hang. That's a joke. That's a running joke. Because, when I pitched the show to everybody, I was like, we're going to have a hang. So it doesn't have to be that formal. So now anytime anything goes wrong, because of them, they go, oh, don't worry about it, Jake. It's just a hang. It's like, God, we still need some professionalism here.
Well,
See, that's why we
true.
only got one Rumble rant today. If we Dawson's look, jeez. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of left a little gross taste in my mouth, like, sure, let's buy more tickets to boost your sales. But at the same point, the media's reaction to this film kind of makes you want to get this thing out. I'll tell you this much. Besides going and donating, and Dawson, you looked at in the terms, and it says that they're going to make an effort, but they don't have to give it back as tickets. So I'm sure they have to do that legally, but it's there's enough people talking about this film. I saw Jewel, a musician, UFC president Dana White said he would actually pay for any of his employees to go see the film and give them time off. Who am I missing? Mel Gibson, of course, promoting this film, saying why it's so important to go see this film. So the word of mouth, it's been kind of grassroots. You guys obviously are tuning in. You probably heard about this film ahead of time. So it's not that crazy. So yeah, go see this film. What was the comment? And then I want to get into...
It's based Minnesota. He's, I think he is disagreeing. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if the movie was made to scare the crap out of parents to get their kids chipped. And then later he said...
Interesting. That's an interesting point. That's a really interesting point because wasn't Jim saying that in the... I think it was Jim Caviezel saying this in the interview with Jordan Peterson. Like, he was saying his sister... her 13-year-old daughter wanted to walk home from school. He's like, no way. And I was like, whoa, Jim. Okay. Because this goes back to like the early 80s / 90s.
This isn't Colombia.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Well, okay, I know,
Although
but you still got to be vigilant. I'm
No,
just
you
saying
still
that
got to
you
be careful, but I mean,
Yeah.
kids can walk home from school.
Right. We can baby them too much, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a K-Wall for Life $10 Rumble rant that says cheers.
Well, thank you, K-Wall.
K-Wall
for
and
life.
T-Wall.
And
Thank you,
T-Wall.
guys.
How about someone not in that family? Jeez. Like, where's Tucker today? Is Tucker not
He
here?
came in late. Yeah, he said he was late for some reason. He lost track of time.
Okay.
But he's here. He said he's not seeing the movie for the same reason Jesse said. He doesn't need a movie to tell him what I already know. He says the movie is just for those who aren't paying attention, which
Ouch.
not entirely true.
Ouch.
I don't agree with that either.
Yeah, and she saw
I'm
it.
with you,
She's been
Tucker.
paying more attention than Tucker.
Now, me and Tucker, we already know. we knew the movie
What are you
before the
guys
movie
doing
came
about it?
out.
Hey, what are you doing about it, Jesse?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You think we're going to tell you we're making our own movie, me and Tucker are, so.
There you go. Let's see the cinematography on that one, huh, Dawson?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be like, hey, Dawson, do you want to do something for me? There's no pay involved. It's going to be all shot in his Android.
Yeah.
Bad Hat Harry says, has anybody seen the rebuff of this film on Twitter by the podcasters from Red Pilled America?
No.
I haven't either.
Okay, we'll put that on our list of things to do. I want to go into one other theory here.
Did we read our Rumble rant, the most recent one?
Yeah.
Yep. We have more comments, but we can get to some later, I guess.
So once again, I don't know why the media's doing this. Maybe it's just they hate Jim Caviezel. They hate anything with faith undertones.
And I think there's probably a lot of people that are caught up in this that don't want it exposed. Probably.
Well,
I
that's
think.
where I was going with that. Thanks, Bridget. I mean,
Oh.
that could be the big one.
It
You went
very
right
well
there.
could be.
I was starting
I
at
just
level
think it's
5.
like-
You're like level 10. Let's go level 10.
I don't think necessarily that everyone's going to believe that. I do, but
Well, just so you guys know, it was Bridget said, not me. No, I mean
just think-
that's the thing is I think maybe on the more innocent thing is they just hate Christianity, and the more sinister side, yes, there's too many people in Hollywood attached. Now that's the Q theory, right? Is that like Hollywood and Washington are just one big pedo ring?
Not everybody, probably, but a large percentage.
I don't know what to say to that. I showed you guys that Bieber thing, right? That's crazy. There's Epstein.
And why can't we see his list?
Why can't we see? Epstein didn't kill himself, right? That guy was trafficking youngsters, right? I don't know how young they got, but certainly minors, right? There's other things. We report this. Pull up the article, Dawson. Back in May, Minnesota Democrats changed language in the Minnesota Human Rights Act. So let me just kind of, and you guys probably know the story, a lot of you guys that follow this, but in the Minnesota Human Rights Act, it said sexual orientation. Let's scroll down here real quick and see what it actually, like the actual language. But it's alluding to basically pedophilia is not a sexual orientation. So it wrote in here, let's see.
I don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah, I must have put, it says, okay, so it says sexual orientation is the second paragraph. Sexual orientation does not include a physical or sexual attachment to children by an adult. And that's what it said originally in the Minnesota Human Rights Act. Democrats took that language out of the bill, okay? The Republicans caught on to that, and then they added an amendment. This is during the floor debate. And it basically reiterated the fact that sexual orientation does not include that.
Mm-hmm.
That passed unanimously in the House. Even crazy, disturbed individuals like Lee Finke, I think, voted for it.
Mm-hmm.
Then when the Democrats brought the final bill, because it goes to a conference committee and then just comes to the floor for a vote, it removed that amendment. So essentially, the Democrats in Minnesota eradicated pedophilia. Now, this is like one of our most watched videos that we've ever done. We've got this on Rumble. Go back in May. You can go watch it. But this article at actionforliberty.com kind of explains it. So what that does is it tweaks the definitions part of the Minnesota Human Rights Act. And so then when you go down to the sections on unfair discriminatory practices, no longer in Minnesota can an employer refuse to hire a pedophile or discharge an employee who's a pedophile. A property owner can't refuse to sell, rent, or lease property to a pedophile. A private company can't refuse to sell goods and services to a pedophile. A school or college to discriminate against a pedophile for the full utilization of benefits from any educational institution. Now, I'm not saying the sexual act against a child is legalized. That's clearly not in Minnesota. But the attraction is now not against the Minnesota Human Rights Act.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really interesting because where this seems to be going is a long route to maybe normalize pedophilia, or what some people call now minor attracted persons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to
well,
change that
I
language.
seriously doubt, I really doubt that every single Minnesota Democratic legislator in the House and Senate actually supports pedophilia. What I think happened is a lot of them got duped into supporting this thing because they get told, it's offensive because they're trying to make pedophiles seem, trying to mix that in with the homosexuality. They want to make, the conservatives just want to make us all look like the same. But really, you want that differentiating language in there. And, I think a lot of these Democrats in the Capitol, we've seen them all session long. They just roll over. They do whatever they're told. They get duped. Most likely they get duped, or they got evil intentions themselves. But I'd imagine it's, there's definitely some of them. We look at Finke. We look at some of these other ones that are in there that, they probably do support the pedophile stuff. But I think a lot of these Democrats have no idea what's going on. Like I was saying earlier, the Democrats have confirmation bias. They don't do their own research. They follow whatever any narrative is that they're told to believe, and they'll do it in lockstep. That's the Democratic Party.
Yeah, and I think what a good point that you're trying to make here is it's not just the pedophilia part, but it's the LGBT in general.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just be honest, the pride backlash here in the last couple months, Bud Light being the big one, is not because really the gay part or the lesbian part. It's the transgender part that's gone too far. People are like, they're hacking up little children, they're grooming them, and so that's the pushback against it. So you're right. For them to be smart, they really should distinguish that this does not belong inside the LGBTQ community, But
And
that's not what's going on.
They got to break up the whole acronym called LGB, and
Yeah,
then
it's
the
true.
T, and
They
then
can't even get it right
the
past
TIA. You know, all that can be its own separate thing. But like, why are sexuality and gender identity the same thing? You know, they're trying to force all them to under the same umbrella.
Dustin, go to F13 cell. I'm gonna cue that video here because
We have a Rumble rant.
Jeff
from-
made me, or Jeff. I pretend like I know everyone's
Jesse.
name here. Jesse, thanks. I was like literally slipped my mind there.
My family all calls me Jeff all the time because I got a cousin named Jeff. So
Oh.
they always, I'm always Jeff anyway.
Well, that's why I was
so-
calling you that. Just
Yeah,
like your
that's
family.
fine.
So it works.
There you go.
Behind the scenes,
We
Jake
have
calls
a
me
Rumble
Jesse
rant,
a lot.
$20 from Bad Hat Harry.
Thank you, Bad
Says
Hat
for
Harry.
the silent Catholics represented by your message, finding their voice.
Nice.
So, and Brad Ganser's here says, "Amen, brother."
Yeah.
He says, Brad says, protecting children should be number one on the Republican Party platform.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually, Brad. Because just hold off on that for a second. The Republican Party in Minnesota, for certain, needs to rebrand itself. Right? They got a real problem. They need new leadership and they need to rebrand. If that was their core
And they need to fight harder on that
platform-
issue. Weren't some of them missing for that? Pedophilia?
Yeah. Oh, well, not the pedophilia one, but the
Transgender
genital mutilation.
Yeah.
sanctuary.
Yeah, Karn Housley was in Michigan, couldn't be bothered to go. do a remote-
Draheim, Carla Nelson.
Right.
Yeah.
But Brad's actually got a great point. If the central focus, like that's what the Republican Party is, well, then you got the education piece, you got the anti-LGBTP stuff in there. You could go into the child sex trafficking and, you know.
You say that acronym wrong every
I
single
laugh
time.
every
What do I
time.
say?
LGBT.
You throw a
whatever
P
you
in
say.
there.
Well, there is a P.
Yeah, now.
Pedophiles.
But, yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I guess
that's
he
what I was
just
just saying.
jumped
The
to
whole
that
thing, like,
I don't
it
even
should
know I'm
be-
doing it wrong. What am I saying?
You just like skip some and throw in TP.
LGTP. I did do that. Holy
You
crap.
just skip a bunch.
What
but-
is it? LGBT?
You forgot the B.
Yeah. And
Well,
Q.
because bisexual, that's so stupid. And I definitely won't do the A because there's asexual. Who's going for them like that? No, they don't need advocacy.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
LGBTQA, whatever else.
LGBTQIA+.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't care. Honestly, I don't
care
give a
either,
crap.
I
I'm not
guess.
going to
Just-
worry myself and learning that stupid stuff.
Yeah.
The alphabet
Just
people.
call it the Alphabet Mafia.
That's right. The alphabet mafia. That's good.
That's what Michael Knowles, I think, always calls it.
Nice. Yeah, I remember Dave
Or
Chappelle called
Charlie
it
or
the
somebody.
alphabet people, but the mafia sounds much better. That's what they are. Speaking of just doing what you're told, we got to talk about Dan Wolgamott. This is this guy. This guy's interesting. This was May 19th on the House floor. We created this video. This is so funny. This is Speaker Pro Temp, 32-year-old Dan Wolgamott. This is our next story we're going to get into. If you guys don't know this story, just wait. Just hold your seats. Don't leave this program. We got something fascinating about Dan Wolgamott. But watch this segment, Dan Wolgamott here.
How to escape the heat if you don't have an air.
There he is. There's Dan Wolgamott escaping the heat. No.
What
Point of order,
you're-
Mr. Speaker.
Okay, you're raising a point of order. State your point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm happy to start over with that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What rule are you citing, Representative Dameth? And I would note to your parliamentary inquiry, Representative Kozlowski is crossed off on my list. I'm not sure why she wasn't crossed off on your list. But under what rule are you citing a point of order, Representative?
Now watch
Dameth?
someone comes up to him. Watch this. Watch this.
Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I do appreciate.
You don't know what it
I
is, but
maybe my list
after
has not been
Demuth
updated
gets
from
done
your
speaking,
prior
you're gonna
notes, and
find
I
out
appreciate
exactly
the
what
staff
that
work that is done. So I
person
in no way
said to him.
am, disrespecting our staff and the work that they do so regularly. Point of order under 10.05, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Dameth, before I recognize you for that point of order, I would like to correct myself that it is the custom and usage of this chamber to use the proper gendering of our members and that the proper pronoun to use was they. And so I would readjust my comments that they have been excused on my list. Representative Dameth.
Oh my God. Oh my God. They were just so crazy. The LGTB mafia. That's what it is. But that's the bosses. I don't think that guy was the boss, but he's been instructed by the bosses. Tell him to correct it right now. So Dan Wolgamott, just a good compliant follower of the Democrat Democrats. Now, I think he got in the news somehow. Didn't he get in the news yesterday?
I think so.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
pull up
he
that article.
maybe got in a little bit of
A
trouble.
little bit of trouble. There you go. There's Legislator of the Year by the Crony Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association. Dan Wolgamott arrested for drunk driving. So let's start with this. First of all, the dude is in Kennebec County, which is northeast, basically east. Yeah, probably just east of his district. So he's probably driven 100 miles or something like that. He's in Kennebec County. I don't know what he's doing in Kennebec County. Maybe there's going to a party.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. Okay, their office hasn't responded to anything yet. But this is last Friday night. What we do know is he's at a liquor store in Kennebec County, drinking vodka alone in his Lincoln MKX.
Just sitting in the car parked.
You know,
That's what we know. Just Bridget, think about all the times you've been sitting in a liquor store parking lot alone drinking vodka, right?
Oh, every night.
Yeah, or never, not one time. Why would I? That's
Yeah.
pretty damn sad.
That's
So
very
someone
sad.
observes this gentleman drinking his Lincoln MKX vodka in a parked car in the liquor store, gets in the vehicle or drives off in the vehicle eventually, and they call the cops. State trooper pulls over Mr. Dan Wolgamott, who was, quote, weaving in the lane, end quote. He ends up getting a whatever the test is at the time. I was gonna say blood urine test. That's not correct. Whatever they get administered
Field
to him.
sobriety or whatever.
yeah, blood alcohol.
Blood alcohol.
Like they
Sorry.
blow.
He ends up getting 0.106, and then of course 0.08 is intoxicated level. All right, so way over the intoxicated level, weaving inside the lanes, observed in the vehicle drinking vodka. Okay, so arrested under suspicion of drunk driving. Now that's, last I checked, endangering the public safety, right? I think that goes without saying. We shouldn't be getting behind vehicles and driving while drunk. Now, Dan Wolgamott received a sword. Now, here's why we're mean. If you're wondering, why are we being mean to the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association? I got to imagine the vast majority of the members, they say they have a lot of members, I don't know, tens of thousands. I got to imagine the average member is a good person, right? Probably a good police officer. We're obviously very pro law enforcement around here. But they're led by just scummy political types, right? They endorse establishment hacks. They've endorsed Angie Craig, who's an anti-freedom, anti-gun, left-wing congresswoman, right? CD2. They literally
endorsed Paul Gazelka and then Kendall Qualls in the same day.
Endorsements.
Yeah, no, and yeah, that was basically a sign of the convention. Like, don't go for them because the establishment's lining up.
Yeah, if you don't want transgender surgeries, them going and endorsing guys like Dan Wolgamott in swing districts is part of the reason we have a problem, assuming their endorsement matters. But even more importantly, to get beyond that.
Well, you know, Wolgamott, when I've been in his district before, he has signs out there. His campaign signs say police endorsed at the bottom of it. So he's going to have a tough time selling that one, this next time around if he goes for it. Who knows if he even would.
Beyond that, if you're a police organization, stay to your issues. They actually backed, and and if you go to actionforlabor.com, read this article, we link to the story. They backed those radical left-wing gun proposals, and that's why we now have universal background checks, red flag gun seizure laws in Minnesota. So it's this organization that supported it and sent a letter to legislators saying you should get on board with it, right? So MPPOA awards Dan Wolgamott their Legislator of the Year award. Go ahead and click, Dawson, on the link there. I got a hyperlink there that one right there. Now I actually did screenshot, not that one. Oh yeah, it is that one. Sorry, you're right. Okay, I was concerned they were going to take down this page. It might be taken down eventually. There's his award. Legislator, the 2023 MPPOA Legislator of the Year. This is a quote from Brian Peters, the executive director, who once, I swear this guy was on a drunken tirade against me on Facebook. Brian Peters. It's hilarious. I took screen captures of it because I put up a picture of Paul Gazelka, and I said, it's that typical picture, like this guy who's really skinny, no muscles, and going like this. And I go, I'm going to tell my kids that was Paul Gazelka. I don't know what Gazelka just did, but some big failure in terms of like compromising with the Democrats. And he goes, Paul Gazelka is an honorable man who served this state with dignity. What have you ever done? He said that to me. What have you ever done? I was like, listen, mofo, what are you talking about? Anyhow, it seemed like he was drunk Facebooking, which is never a good idea.
No.
Late night white clawing, right? Late night clawing is what we call it. He writes, quote, Representative Wolgamott is a true friend and supporter of law enforcement and increased public safety. He has been the chief bill author of many proposals for safer, stronger communities. End quote. Are you going to revoke that legislator? Because it sounds to me he's not really for safer communities. And I saw some traffic that maybe this is actually a second Dewey recently. This is the guy they're awarding legislator of the year to, right? Now, you think the story ends right there. I mean, if that's not already crazy enough, this story is far better. Because guess what else they found when they pulled over this swerving Lincoln MKX? They found no front license plate, which I didn't know this because back in Wisconsin when I used to come, I graduated ROTC at the U of M, so I went to River Falls. I'd have to come over for PT in class Monday, Wednesday, Friday at like 4:30. I'd always drive over. And I had this big old infantry crossed rifles thing because I was real proud being in the infantry. And that was my front license plate. Legal in Wisconsin, not in Minnesota. I think I got 2 citations for not having a front license plate in Minnesota. So
Did
he
you
doesn't
live
have
in
that.
Minnesota?
No, I lived in Wisconsin. So I drive here and I had to
They
park.
can actually, wow.
Yeah.
I got pulled over once for that, but I just told them I didn't live here.
Oh, well,
Which-
it doesn't matter according to the law because they knew I didn't. I was registered car to Wisconsin. Long story
But like,
short.
what if you're just driving through? Sorry, really quick. What if you're just driving through, like on a vacation? How do they know where you're going?
You got to follow laws of Wisconsin. Well, it's the same thing with gun
So you
laws.
got to whip out your license plate and throw it on if you're driving through another state.
You could make that same argument. I have a gun, a concealed gun, as you're driving
I
through
think
New York
that's-
City, and they'd be like, "No, you can't
But
do that."
I think that's really different.
No, it's
than
not because it's the laws of the state that you're in. Don't come into the state if you don't follow. Of course, who would
so
know that,
dumb.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but and they probably got some sympathy for you. I'm just saying that's what the law says. Is you'd have to. I guess you'd have to go manufacture another license plate. That'd be pretty funny, wouldn't it? Who gives a crap about that, honestly? But the better one is Mr. Wolgamott had expired tabs. Mr. Wolgamott just voted to increase the price of your tabs. You know that Democrats, they're for the common man, for the poor. Just tax the wealthy and the rich. No, they're increasing your license tab fees, and apparently they don't even all pay for those license tab fees. Wolgamott, what's your reason? Why couldn't you get? The amount of time it took you to drink in your car alone in the parking lot of a liquor store, maybe you could have gone online and got your new license tab fees. So we are raising money right now. We got a GoFundMe for Dan Wolgamott to help him pay for his license tab fees because apparently it's just too costly after the Democrats increased the price. Dan Wolgamott can't pay for it. What a crazy story. This thing dropped about 3-ish yesterday afternoon. We were on here like, yeah, we remember that guy. Dan Wolgamott, we've door knocked his voters. This guy was one of the holdouts. Well, I should say holdouts. He was always voting to increase Governor Walz's emergency powers. Never flipped, not one time. So, another con artist, Democrat. Here's my question. Can this guy continue to serve? Do you think this guy's done? Go back to the article. This is his...
I mean, there's a few of them in there already that, they got DUIs themselves. And, Bob Loonan, we all know Boozin' Bob. He never gave up. He just kept on running. So,
yeah, but does...
And Wolgamott, he's got some leadership in the House there. So, if I had to guess, I say he runs again.
Go back down, scroll down. There's his mugshot. Not very remorseful. Apparently, this is a thing when you're a politician, though. You don't, you smile and look happy because who would think that's a mugshot?
Yeah.
Or the party's extended, So
I thought you weren't allowed to smile for your mugshot.
Can they stop you from smiling?
I mean,
How would
I
they
guess
do that?
not.
Well, you've probably seen that image of like the black dude who was trying to smile, and they had a cop like literally go in and like hold his face for the mugshot because
No, I've never seen
I haven't
that.
seen that either.
You never seen
But
that?
yeah, I
Hold
thought
that
they
up.
weren't allowed to smile.
I'll see if I can find.
Yeah, I don't
it.
know how you police that. Yeah, you got to pull that
Jim
up.
on Facebook says, "How can I see all the comments?" Most of the comments are on Rumble.
Yeah, you got to go to Rumble. Go to rumble.com. Look up Truth Hurts. That's the way to do it. I mean, listen, Facebook and YouTube have played nice, but, I mean, these guys censor. So we only put it up there because there's no cost to us doing it, but you got to get in Rumble. Rumble, by far, is the one that will stick by us. Because, you know, we give out medical misinformation or election misinformation. You know, we got to be careful here. Now, probably sex trafficking misinformation, Q misinformation. Like, that's the thing, is these guys want to censor it. And then we start wondering why they're censoring it, right? It makes it seem like we're maybe over the target. Did you find this image, Dawson?
I'm on the search for it.
All right, I think this is fake news. I can't
Right,
imagine
I
what
just
that would look
made
like.
that up in my head.
Tucker says that him and Jesse are going to expose Planned Parenthood sex camp in Mankato.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Me and Tucker, we were talking about that on Truth Social. Minnesota Patriots for Trump. You can find all the top Trump talk of Minnesota there.
And we didn't. I don't think we did the article on that yet. We
I don't think so.
I
yeah,
hadn't heard about that.
We need to do. Yeah, there's a sex camp.
Yeah, and Planned Parenthood. I found out recently. I got an ad that says, you know, come change your gender at Planned Parenthood or something. I'm going, oh, I didn't even know you guys changed genders. You know, I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, no, I got an ad for it. I might have even taken a screenshot of it because I was like, wow, look at this. But yeah, Planned Parenthood is in the transgender business now.
So why are they giving you an ad on that one?
I don't know. Hey,
you know
you're
they can
asking me
micro-target.
to explain why they target an ad.
They can micro-target.
Yep.
Yeah, there's that. You got to be kidding me. And he's still smiling too. It makes it great.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I don't know.
wow.
When was
about-
this
Oh my
picture taken?
gosh.
Because just think about the ramifications of that picture there.
Oh yeah, after George Floyd.
Yeah, I mean maybe
this was
those aren't
before,
white
This was
arms, but-
before George Floyd.
It was before.
As far as 7 years ago.
Oh, that image doesn't age well.
It's. I mean, it's kind of badass. Look at him. He does not care.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. And watch, like, it was something minor that he got busted for, you know.
Expired tabs. I don't know if that's true. I made that up.
Do you think old Dan Wogelmeyer gets the Hunter Biden treatment? You know, he didn't get the DFL van pull up like Lori Swanson got.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Lori Swanson? No.
Julie
not Lori
Blaha.
Judy Blaha, yeah. Yeah, he didn't get the that's an interesting story. Alpha News broke many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Judy Blaha's in a vehicle that's got an open alcohol container in it, White Claw, and goes off the road. Who was
Yeah,
driving
here
it?
I just looked it up. If you look up Planned Parenthood transgender surgery, the first thing that pops up for me is an ad that says Planned Parenthood transgender hormone therapy, and yeah, they offer those services.
I mean, is anyone shocked? And by the way, are we picking that bill up? I think we're probably picking that bill up.
Bad Hat Harry says the mug was probably taken, or probably to make him show his face, not to make him stop smiling.
Could be.
Oh, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't think there's something. I don't know how you stop someone from smiling. Does the ad pop up for you, Dawson?
I'm using Bing, Microsoft Bing, so this is what I get.
Well, you got to Google. Just go to Google. Is there a reason you can't Google it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I got an ad at the top of it, but I imagine if we do some digging, we definitely
Oh,
find it.
I have blockers for that.
Oh, he's got blockers. Okay.
Mm.
The camp, I don't want to go hunt it down, but you can go to Facebook. I think it's the Minnesota, North Dakota Planned Parenthood. They're doing a summer camp. What are the details of this thing? It's like a week camp where teenagers are being encouraged, and I think even paid, like $100 or something like that, to learn about sex. Remind me again on the story.
I gotta find the dates and stuff on this thing. I'm not 100% too. I just know it's Mankato, July. Okay, here we go. I think I found the tweet from Planned Parenthood, Minnesota. So, looking for youth opportunities in Mankato this summer? Sex Ed Summer Camp is a week-long in-person program from the 24th to the 28th for ages 15 to 18. Sign up is free. Lunch is provided daily, and those who complete the program receive a $150 gift card. So
So messed up. They like try to hide all the sex stuff that's being exposed in this new movie, but then they promote
Jake, are you?
Well, and it's
are you-
weird that they're doing 15 to 18. If you're 18, you're an adult.
That's
You know,
true.
so it's kind of like why are
Adults and-
it's a little sketchy territory.
Jake, are you expecting someone?
No, someone at the door.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting someone. Dawson, do me a favor. I put in cell F14 Planned Parenthood's Facebook thread. Let's go to another comment while he pulls this up.
So some of them are from the previous conversation, but it says, so Real Nunya Business on YouTube says, the fact that the media and politicians suppressing it, as they have with past people exposing CPS traffickers and Clinton Deadpool, need to be brought to justice, not with something, bought and paid for judge.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. That was on YouTube. I have to go back to.
Here's, so this is Planned Parenthood. Let's scroll down here real quick. Oh, actually, yeah, keep going. There you go. Sex summer camp. Click on that. Ages 15 to 18. Lunch is provided and participations receive a $150 gift card upon completion.
Holy crap.
That phone down there.
I almost want to do that.
Yeah, what's the gift card for?
Oh, it's a gift card.
Yeah,
Dang.
right.
Just give
Yeah,
me
what is
the
that for?
money at that.
Yeah, Planned Parenthood gift card.
$150 off your sex change operation.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to mention the other thing they do with taxpayer dollars there.
Okay, so it's 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day. Okay, that's interesting. I wasn't sure if these kids were staying there or what they were planning here.
Yep. All right, let's finish the show with some more comments here.
I was just reading through. So when Brad had mentioned protecting children should be number one on the Republican Party platform,
I mean, that's really a good point. Brad,
Tucker, though, goes-
let's talk later about that, by the
Tucker
way.
says, what is protecting children, though? We put it in quotations. It needs to be more specific or it will be abused.
Well, no, so I think, it's a nice catchphrase, right? Make America great again, right? Protecting our children, right? Protecting children. Or like the film, Protecting God's Children, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so many things lead into it, right? Like, how do you make America great again? Well, you do that. You secure the border, right? You just take all your policy items. Well, that's the same thing the Republican Party could do, is protecting our children by, getting rid of woke indoctrination in the schools, by, banning sex change operations for children under 18 or something like that. You could just lead into a bunch of issues that are winning issues, in my opinion. Ending abortion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that'd be a tall order for the Republican Party because they don't seem to want to take on that issue anymore.
Let's see. I just had another comment, but I lost it. Oh, T-Wall for Life says, they did the same thing with the movie Unplanned. I say follow the money on this one. Q drops weren't specific enough to be blatantly true or false.
Mm-hmm.
What, say that last part again
on
about
the movie,
Q?
Q drops weren't specific enough to be blatantly true or false.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't think I ever saw a Q drop. So all I know is the two friends I have that have embraced some of those theories when they communicate to me. So one of them I've won a considerable amount of bets with. I'll just put it that way, where I just kind of felt bad after a while and said, we're not, actually, I think she said she's not betting anymore. So maybe she took it another step and then, actually put specifics on it. Because I don't know, maybe the Q ones never were. And maybe that's the genius part of the Q thing. But I don't even want to get into the Q stuff. I mean, whatever it is, I think it's mostly just goofiness. Someone's probably laughing and trolling behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
It's just that what they're doing to try to belittle this, because Q bad, that's how they want you to think. And
I
Q's
love how
responsible.
Trump kind of leads on that it's true.
Yeah.
Trump kind of feeds into it himself, But the people that follow Q, most of them are all good people and they believe the right stuff and they're just maybe too skeptical. But that, I'll take someone too skeptical over someone that's too accepting of the establishment.
Yeah, but it is also kind of sad if you see someone that's like starting to embrace things that are just
To just go off the deep end.
Yeah.
Being of Light 11 says Q drops worth a Socratic method and asked questions, and Anons do the digging and investigation for facts.
Interesting.
We had a comment on YouTube from Jane Hall, says thanks for what you're doing. You guys are awesome.
Oh, thank you, Jane. Appreciate that. You're awesome too.
And then Real Nunya Business on YouTube again says, so why won't the Biden's Democrats or media condemn pedos or support the exposure, especially of the 85,000 kids disappearing at the border?
Well, that's almost like the same problem like they leveled at Tim Ballard. Why hasn't he disavowed the Q theories? It's like, does he have to do that? So I don't know if that question's posed the right way. More importantly, why isn't the Biden administration
Democrats
making
don't want
it a
to talk
priority?
about, yeah, Democrats don't want to talk about Democratic failures.
Yes, exactly.
They don't want to talk about the border in any context. They don't want to talk about it. So, yeah, they're not going to admit to any of the and especially Bill Clinton. I'm sure Democrats are sick of defending Bill Clinton because they know he's a pedophile. They just don't want to talk about it.
I don't know that he's a pedophile. I know that guy has got very loose moral fabric, to himself, but he propositioned a subordinate in the White House, right? Last I saw, that was why
she probably wasn't the first.
That's last I checked. That's why Harvey Weinstein was a really terrible monster. But I guess Bill Clinton gets a pass in that one. So but he probably went to Jeffrey Epstein's pedo island, and so
yeah, but
it's not a stretch to say that he probably
Bill
did
Clinton
that.
didn't rape Monica Lewinsky.
Well, it's not rape. So even if it's consensual sex when it's a person in a powerful position, that's a very monstrous thing to do, right?
Yeah.
You're the president of the United States. You're the leader of the free world, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like the implication, right? That show that.
But yeah, there was nothing illegal technically on that whole thing. What they
Right.
got him on was for lying.
I'm making an ethical argument.
Yeah,
here,
right.
And that's the same thing that they would allege with a guy like Harvey Weinstein. Now, I think there's also criminal parts to what
I'm sure.
Weinstein did.
Of
but
course.
the fact that he uses the power of position to coerce women. So basically, it's coercion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
We have a Rumble rant from Napkinator. $10 says, where we go one, we go all.
Nice.
Yeah. And then probably have some other ones in here. Base Minnesota says, could circumcision be considered genital mutilation?
That is a good question. That is that one's interesting. I mean, first of all, I don't know if you could, because it definitely doesn't change the sex. Well, first of all, what am I talking about? I'm talking like I'm so woke here. You can't change the sex. There's lots of evidence on that one, right? But you still have all the functions, okay? Where I come on this one? It's really like, it's an old, maybe outdated practice, but it's maybe an aesthetics, right? And it's really harmless. I have observed them on my child, because I think if you're a father, you better observe that. You better make sure that medical professional doesn't have a shaky hand that day. That's actually how we found her pediatrician. By the way, I'm saying too much, but she got a kick out of me being like asking her all these questions, because I was like, that's not the one to screw up on, right? So I don't know if I would consider that the same. And then of course people talk about female genital mutilation with
Muslims.
in the Muslim community.
Mm-hmm.
And is there? I don't know. I'm not an expert enough to know the difference there, but certainly, yeah, that's a very common practice in our society, is to do that to babies, right? There was an old argument for sanitary reasons, and that might still have some bit of credibility, but it's way different than what we're talking about when you're actually like trying to change the sexual development of a child. Like a perfectly good breast on a 15-year-old girl, and you hack those up. That's just so terrible. Like you have no idea where she's going to end up in life. And so now she's lost her breast. And I don't know how much this happens with boys. I got to imagine this does not happen a lot. But snip down there, that's just terrible. I don't know if that happens with young boys. Certainly there's some crazy adults that do it. I don't think that happens a lot. This person that just won Miss Netherlands?
Right?
Yeah. And we wrote about this on actionforliberty.com. I don't know if she got oh God, look how woke I am now. How he got snipped. Yeah, dude just won Miss Netherlands, by the way. Going to be competing in Miss Universe.
That's pretty insane, Miss Universe, like to get to that level, competing there.
And the woman that he beat, gorgeous woman. Poor woman. Women's empowerment, yay.
Yeah, I almost don't want to say this because I'm sure you guys have maybe seen you'll use it against Trump. Have you guys seen the 2012 stuff about the transgender Miss Universe type thing? Oh, man. Well, I guess I'm just giving you guys ammunition if you want to come after me and Trump. But no, so in 2012, yeah, I know.
Good thing William's not here to be in a fight.
Yeah, William would know. That's the thing. William would know. Yeah, honestly, if we're talking about Dawson, go ahead and look up some. Just look up Donald Trump 2012 transgender model or something. And we can
saw
let
DeSantis' commercial against Trump, right?
Yeah, I know. DeSantis is basically campaigning as I hate transgenders more, you know, so it's like, okay, Mr. 20%.
Yeah, but he's the legend. Trump doesn't hate him at all. That's the wrong way to phrase it, by the way.
Yeah, no, exactly. We
Hate
shouldn't.
him,
It's
like-
not about hate.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's about the kids. It's not about adults. So,
And it's about stop telling me what I got to say, you know? Like, let me look at you as a person.
are you
T-Wall,
seeing it there, Dawson?
We have
Yeah.
a question from T-Wall. He says, what happens if a man falls in love with a transgender man pre-surgical intervention?
Okay, hold on one second. So that's a man loving a woman
I know, I'm
who
like, I'm
then
just kidding
becomes
about
a...
this.
I know, I always got...
What happens if a man falls in love with a transgender
well,
man?
I know of... I don't know of one of that scenario, and that might almost never happen. But I know the other scenario. I know a couple. Woman marries man who becomes a woman. I know of a couple of those. Not like these are great friends of mine, but
Right.
I know at least 2 cases right off the top of my head.
Was that what Finky did?
That's what Finky did. Although Finky got divorced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I know 2 that are like still a thing.
Yeah, no, I know a guy who he's gay, but yeah, his gay boyfriend is now a chick. It's like, how does that make sense, you know?
Yeah.
Doesn't
That
make
one-
sense to me.
I don't know if that one's as crazy. I think if you're a dude and try to pretend that you're a woman and you're married to a woman, I feel like that woman's probably not very happy, and she's probably not telling anyone, and she'll probably post virtue signal on social media, but you probably kind of want to be married to a man, right? That's why you married a man.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting raw into that deal. Did we find this thing? Because we got to wrap up here.
Napkinator says, watch 90 Day Fiance. A Minneapolis man is going through that on the show.
Oh,
What is
yeah.
90 Day Fiance?
Oh, it's hilarious. It's a funny. It's
You don't
a
watch
super
movies
funny
and
show.
you know what this is?
I've seen clips because yeah, there's this guy named Ed who's like he's kind of a midget and he's really fat and
that story's
you know what I'm talking about, right, Dawson? You've seen it.
Yeah, it's trash TV. but
Yeah,
it's
no,
entertaining.
exactly.
What's it on?
It's trash.
TLC.
Yeah, TLC or some crap like that. But it's good entertainment. There's some funny clips on there.
All right, so what's the guy doing on 90 Day Fiance, whatever the heck that TLC program's about?
I guess he's going through,
A transition?
I guess, or
So
dealing
is
with
he-
somebody
Dating
or dating
someone?
somebody that's going through.
Dating
So
someone.
we
No.
won't ever get to see day 364 womanhood then with this person?
Hope not.
Oh, there goes his Bud Light sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
What is this here?
Yeah, Trump overrules rejection of transgender beauty queen. So this was in 2012.
Okay, hold on. First of
He
all, that
allowed-
is a woman right there, right?
That's man to woman.
It really looks like a woman.
That really looks like a woman. Are
I
you
know.
sure about that?
No, I'm 100% sure because I was looking into this. And yeah, so in 2012 when Trump owned Miss Universe, he was saying, let that transgender compete in Miss Canada. And if they win, they get to be in the Miss Universe pageant. And, you know, honestly, I've been thinking about it a little bit. 2012, you know, that was before this whole transgender phenomena. That was before they were all connected with the pedophiles. It was more just like, you know, kind of more just like they're a cross-dresser. It's a little bit odd, you know, but they can live their lives the way they want. You know, it's obviously become much more of a thing nowadays, but I just was like really interested in this story and just going, huh, who would have thought? And yeah, no, it's just an interesting one. And I know the DeSantis campaign is using it big time against Trump right now. But really, you know, Trump could use this in the general election, you know.
I am looking up pictures. I am not seeing a dude on this one.
Yeah, it's a dude. It's a dude deep down.
I'm beginning. There's some fake news. Jenna Telakova, a tall blonde who underwent gender reassignment surgery at age 19 and holds legal documents affirming her identity as a woman, wants pageant organizers to go further and drop eligibility rules she calls discriminatory.
Mm-hmm.
Telekova, 23, was kicked out of Miss Universe Canada competition last Friday after she was selected as one of 65 finalists. The winner of that contest, who ultimately will be crowned on May 19th in Toronto, will go to represent Canada Global Miss Universe. In throwing her out, pageant organizers accused Telekova of having falsified her application when she said she was born female, adding that I didn't know that was what they asked.
Mm-hmm.
Adding that Miss Universe organization has rules which apply to all the franchises around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then in here, and this is from Reuters.
And then Trump forgave that rule, and then it still wasn't enough for the transgender. They were still on, TV and stuff complaining about Trump. So how Trump didn't go far enough.
This one's gorgeous here. This is great. All right. So, but by then, pageant organizers had already reversed course in Telekova's eligibility at the behest of Trump, who is president and owner of Miss Universe organization. Quote: as long as she meets the standards of legal gender recognition requirements of Canada, which we understand that she does, Jen Telekova is free to compete in the 2012 Miss Universe Canada pageant, said Michael Cohen, special counsel to Trump and executive president of this business
Yeah,
group.
it's funny how things come back around.
Quote, nobody is capitulating, rather the Miss Universe organization is respecting the laws of Canada, end quote, Cohen told Reuters, and that she, like all other contestants, wished the best of luck by Mr. Trump. If she's not if it's a dude, should not be competing in a damn woman's pageant. Now in the end of the day, it is what it is. Like I have nothing to do with these pageants. I don't care.
Mm-hmm. But think about this. This
private
was
organization
12 years ago. 12 years ago. Think about how people were viewing the issue. Think about the dynamics. Things were way different then.
Yeah, so Trump was woke before all the other people.
No,
That's
no,
what I'm saying.
No, not
well,
woke.
how else do I read it? He was
Not
woke way ahead of time.
Yeah, see, you're a transgender hater,
you're putting
instead
words in
of
my mouth. Oh,
jeez. It's
And
about the
doing that
kids.
just what William does.
that you're forgetting. It's about the kids. It's not about the adults. And like I was just saying,
yes, but you can't ignore the fact that Trump is basically woke here, right?
Back
I
in
wouldn't say
2012.
that. Trump's an accepting guy. He's not going to judge people. And to him, like I was saying, the transgender movement was in its infancy right there. And Trump nowadays, he says, keep men out of women's sports. He's there on every important issue on the transgender
But this is
stuff.
a woman's sport.
I know, this
in
is
some
basically,
regard.
it's a competition.
It's not a sport.
Yeah, but it's still a competition. You shouldn't be allowed to.
If a woman loses to a man in Miss Universe, they deserve to lose.
No, they don't.
If you can lose to a man...
No, it's bullshit because you know
You're
how this
fake.
woke movement goes. They're actually,
I know, I shouldn't have even brought this up.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm shocked you did. He's turning on Trump, I guess.
No, I'm not turning.
Look,
I just think...
you know that people are biasing the judgment of these pageants because of this crazy woke mafia.
Now they are, yeah.
They were doing it in 2012 in Canada.
No,
That's
not-
how Jordan Peterson came on the stage. Because they were actually trying to compel speech circa 2015-16.
Right, yeah. And this was before then, right.
It was starting back then in Canada.
Well, not in Canada. No, the Canada was the one that was telling the tranny no.
Yes, the pageant was, but the culture there was changing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, okay, then Trump is even more woke than Canada, using that logic.
You're using the word woke, not me.
What else do you say? It's a dude competing as a woman. Once again, I'm not making a political statement here. Okay?
You sure are.
I think people have to. No, I'm not. They're free to do whatever they want. It's their pageant. It's a private organization.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just saying, the way I look at it, I think I'm not even a consumer of their product, or they're watching their show. I guess that would be it. Watching.
I know
their
it's
show.
one of those things that you
So I
couldn't,
don't really
you couldn't
care
even
too
tell
much.
it was a dude. You couldn't tell it was a dude.
You really couldn't, but it is a dude. If it's really a dude, that's what they're saying. What are you doing competing in a competition for women?
Isn't it a beauty pageant at the end of the day?
Well, it's Miss Universe, meaning it's a woman.
I see. I don't.
It's
I
just
don't-
beauty
I don't follow any
pageant.
of this.
It's just beauty pageant. Should just still be women winning it, right?
Well, if it's beauty pageant for both sexes, then whatever. Then that would be fine, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know how
I'm just saying, not
you know how
fine, but I'm
problematic
s-
that would be nowadays, Bridget, because they'd be like,
Well, I know.
we
but
have
I'm
to have
saying then it
three
wouldn't matter
categories.
that he's claiming to be a woman.
We have to have three categories. We have to have woman, man, and no, actually, we'd have to have four categories. We'd have to have man, trans woman, woman. That would be the pageant. Four categories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This is way before the whole movement was like being shoved down people's throats. Way before, basically, back then it was like you were kind of cool if you were defending them. and Trump was just, I don't necessarily, I
with
don't
what
know
you're
how
saying.
I feel completely about the move, but I'm just saying things were way different in 2012 than they are right now.
That's 100% true. I agree with what you're saying, Jesse. He was woke way before
I'm
everyone
not.
else.
No,
It helps that this person.
I know you
is,
think
like,
you think this dude's hot, and you're the one
I
talking.
did not say that.
Yeah, you did.
I did not.
Yeah, you did.
You started with like that's not a dude. There's no way.
I
that's
didn't.
a
That's
dude.
all I said.
You said he is way too hot to
Oh,
be a
he's
dude.
no Brad Pitt. Let's be honest.
He's not- I think that helps their case because so Jake has made it clear that I have been on Bumble type stuff lately, like dating apps, and it's just a thing now where scrolling through you'll find people that are trans or transitioning, whatever.
Who is in your thing? Your news feed or whatever they call them on Bumble.
No, I can't control it because the apps
sure.
are considered woke anyways. So it's like if
Well, so
I
what does like a young conservative do then? Like where do they go? Because they don't want that crap.
go to farmersonly.com or
That's
something.
not the only one. Is eHarmony still a thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's someone out there now for unvaccinated.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I don't know
I don't know if it
anything
ever
about
took
it.
off.
No, that's a smart move
But
though.
so in it, a lot of the people that I come across that are transitioning are not
Idiots.
putting in effort.
Yeah,
I'll
idiots.
say this person seems to have put in effort.
Well, and it costs so much money. These transgenders, they don't realize they're never going to be able to afford the surgery. It's like most of them, they start with the hormones and everything, but the surgery itself, $15,000-$20,000, they can't afford that, so they're never going to do it. So they're just screwing themselves up with these hormones. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't really care in the end of the day. I mean, it's just so goofy that we all have. That's actually the pushback. Is really do whatever you're going to do, okay? As you're an adult, stop grooming the children. Don't hack up the sex organs of kids. If you're William, you believe even adults can't do that. He maybe has a point there. But it's like, do whatever you want. It's just like, what I think people are getting so irritated about is it's just in your face all the time. Like you walk into Target and you got to throw the pride stuff right in our face. At some point, it's like, why do you got to do that? Why can't you just live that life? We're not throwing all of our stuff in your face. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the pushback and maybe why I maybe get a little sensitive when I see this stuff. But yeah, at the end of the day, I can't remember. Didn't they used to have Miss Universe like after the Super Bowl? Am I not remembering this right? Are you guys?
I've never
this
watched
is probably
one.
back in the 90s. I want to say that's what they used to do. And so I could see some of those pageants because like it'd be a Super Bowl party. My sister, after the fact, got more out of that than watching the actual game, right? So I can't say I've watched a pageant forever. In fact, now when I hear pageant, I think of Miss Congeniality, the movie.
That's a good movie.
That is
A
a good
great movie. Good lines in that one, right?
We have some comments.
All right, comments, then we'll finish up. We're way over time.
Base Minnesota says, guaranteed Jake in his single days would have hit on that dude at the bar.
Oh, how dare you? That's the scary thing is like, if you don't know.
That is true.
I got a friend who, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to tell the story.
Isn't that the joke? Isn't that like didn't Family Guy make that joke a lot or something?
Probably.
No
Where it's
idea,
like-
but.
It's like this person hits on this person and then turns out they're a dude.
You know how guys have gaydar, right?
Yeah.
You get a
Do you not
transar,
yeah, do you not have a
transar.
tradar?
Yeah,
Tradar.
something like that.
Like you would imagine. Most of them are so bad, you would just.
You look at the hands.
The hands do it for you? For me, it's the jawline.
Hands and
always the jaw.
Adam's apple.
What's that person
That's
that was
true,
on
Adam's
Tim
apple.
Pool? I almost said he's a political.
Blair White.
Blair White. There you go. That one's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Getting better. Doesn't mean that they're actually women though. But
This has turned into like a dating website. Bad Hat Harry says there's no websites for conservative Catholics. And then Base Minnesota
oh yeah, there
says,
is. It's called Mass. Go to Mass.
Okay, wow.
Are you allowed to do that? Are you allowed to find a date at Mass?
I mean, not during Mass, but you could meet people after, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like during donuts or whatever they do?
Yeah.
They don't do that. You're thinking Lutherans.
No, some Catholics do donuts.
That's true. I'm just kidding.
And then Base told Tucker to ask me out, but I think Tucker just laughed, which is good because I've never met the man. So
Ask you up.
yeah, this is turned
Oh,
into
there
like
you
a
go.
dating website.
There's a dating app.
The truth.
The truth hurts on
The
Rumble.
truth hurts.
That's gonna be our
Jesse's
next.
available too
That's
for all
gonna
those
be our
Yes,
next
Jesse's
app.
available too, and he can dress up like a girl. No, okay.
Don't even say something like that.
Well, you're the one defending. No, good. I'm joking. Totally joking. This is what happens to go to extended hours.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Now we cut.
Yeah. Okay, we'll cut. Just cut off the audio, Dawson. We're good at that. Anyhow, we had more than enough to talk about today. There's other stories we didn't get to. So Thursday's show, come back here, 1 o'clock, here on Rumble. You can watch other platforms, but Rumble, for sure it will happen on Rumble. We'll see you on Thursday at 1 o'clock.